Back with you tonight, John in Focus. Thanks for staying on. The eThekwini Municipality needs to spend more than 20 billion rands within the next 10 years to ensure that its water and wastewater systems can support its increasing population. But the question is, does the province have the money? For more on this, we are joined by the Deputy Mayor of eThekwini, Philani Mavundla. Molasa, good evening and thank you very much for your time and for joining us tonight here on In Focus. It looks like a hefty bill to be able to raise within the next 10 years. Are you purely going to raise that from ratepayers?
Good evening to you and the listeners. No, the ratepayers of eThekwini cannot afford to pay the money that we need to rectify our wastewater system, to rectify our trunk sewer that carries our waste, to rectify our water network that distributes water in the communities, as well as solving the issue of what we call non-revenue water, which means it's a water that we buy from our supplier, being Umgeni Water Board, but we lose about, in this past financial year, we lost 1.7 billion rand in that year. The ratepayers just don't have that money, but somehow it does need to be sorted so that we can move forward knowing that we do have the infrastructure that can carry the load.
What is holding you back, for example, on finishing a dam that would be sufficient to meet the full demand of the water needs of the people of eThekwini?
Well, let me put it this way. eThekwini has been in a water deficit at least for the last 6 years. And to solve the problem, obviously, we need to build a complete new dam, which in this case, the national government has come up with a plan to build a dam called Umkomazi Dam. That dam, it's got 34-kilometer tunneling that will take the water from Ulwa to a place called Mlazaros. Once it gets there, it will then be purified and be distributed to about 5 districts. But the one district that will be taking almost 70 to 80% of that is eThekwini. However, having said this, as you know, that to build a dam of that magnitude may take us anything to a minimum of 4 years to 5 years, but to fill it as well is depending what is a rain pattern at the time. For instance, Inanda Dam took 8 years to fill it up, but it's depending. If the rain is good, the dam can be filled in just one season. Unfortunately, for us to wait that long, somebody needs to come up with a plan as to how to move forward. As a eThekwini Municipality, we've come up with a number of options of what we're doing. We have a plant called mixed reuse, where we mix the sewer with our seawater. We've piloted that. It is working. But we also have a plant that uses the grey water that we then send back to the industry. However, having said this, people still need to get drinking water. But yes, we must admit we're battling. We're not too sure how we're going to get there.
Yeah. The incoming Premier of the province has highlighted the question of high levels of pollution and saying this is making the metro to become a hard sell to investors. Investors are not coming in, and it's embarrassingly shocking to learn that for the third time this year now, you've issued a notice that most beaches were closed until further notice due to high E. coli levels. How are you approaching and tackling this question of pollution?
Look, we need to tell the nation the truth as is, and I'm happy to say it because this is known from the president, whom I met for an hour. I discussed with him the problem that we are facing as eThekwini, the Minister of Water and Sanitation, the entire government leadership, as well as the ruling party in the province. They are fully aware of what is happening. Up until before the floods, we had 24 pollution notices that has been issued in KZN. The bigger number of these, out of the 24, 13 were issued to eThekwini Municipality. It is not a very good record to be proud of, but it's a reality. That is what it is. How we got to that? We got to that because we have an infrastructure that has not been maintained for many years. So this infrastructure has given up. But we also have another problem that we really don't have the capacity to deal with, the vandalism. The people who will go and steal the pump, steal the cable, and then you end up having the pump station that are supposed to be pushing or pumping our effluent into the wastewater works. That effluent end up going into our river system. And then once that happens, and then you find yourself having a situation where our environment is getting polluted. That is the situation as it stands at the moment. Further to that, we have lost 4 of our wastewater plants during the floods. As we speak right now, these plants are just polluting every river that is closer to them. And we really need money to do that. Unfortunately, up until this day, the national government has not come into the party to assist us. We're still crying for help, but we haven't received any.
Yeah. Deputy Mayor, the people of Tongaat, I'm sure you saw, you know what happened, you know the story of what happened last week. They are crying neglect. They are saying they are neglected. They're counting 126 days that the residents there had been without water. What's the supply of water tankers that you're directing that way?
Well, today I was in Tongaat almost the whole day. There's one ward there, Ward 61. It's got 230 Jojo tanks or static tanks. Like every 50 meters you'll get a tank. Every flat there has got a tank. Now, it can't be correct to say they have not had water. The people of Tongaat, they will have water. I'm very happy that you can send your TV crew. I'll take them and show them the amount of tanks that they have and the tankers that they have. But what is happening in Tongaat, the people there are crying for the water to come out of their tap. They're saying they're sick and tired of drinking the water from the static tank. Yes, we do agree. We understand that if you're living in a flat that is up to a 4-story high, you're having to go down and fetch the water to flush your toilet, to have your bath, to cook, and so on. Some people are elderly people. That is very much understandable. However, on the other side, which was all over in the news on this day, banning and so on, which was Hambanati. We've been to Hambanati on this day. We've been to Hambanati with the National Minister on Friday. I was in Hambanati again yesterday morning. What we've learned with Mr. Kaunda, our mayor, eThekwini, is that what has happened in Hambanati is just the squabbles between the corporate themselves fighting for whatever that they are fighting for. But it is really far from eThekwini not providing them with water. I can say this with the nation listening, that to keep Tongaat going with the water is costing us in the region of 4 to 5 million rand a month. Yet we're losing around 13 million rand of income that we should be getting selling water as well as sewer. That's the situation. But for water, I can take anyone there any day. There is enough water for drinking and whatever that they need the water for. However, they want the water in the tank. There isn't anything that we can do until the end of October, when the plant that we're busy putting up will be commissioned to deliver the water to our community.
Yeah. So, I mean, from what I'm saying, I'm hearing from you as a matter of fact, you're saying that the 20 billion is not going to come from the ratepayers. The 20 billion is going to have to be raised somehow. And by that, you mean you're going to have to go with a begging bowl to national to say, give us the money. You think, is that the only route that you'll be exploring?
It's the only route that we can explore. What we also need to understand, the fact that the money that was supposed to spend on maintaining our infrastructure was used on the nice to have. And that has got absolutely nothing to do with the ratepayers. Some of us who are political parties who consider ourselves to be voice of the voiceless, or the one that are there to stand for the condemned, we honestly believe that the people who were deployed to run the city and they decided to run the way they've run the city, it is them who have caused that. It can't then be the ratepayers who must shoulder the blame of rectifying this infrastructure. The national government need to come in, because remember, Thabo, COGTA has always been there. The Auditor General has always been there. What is it that they've been doing to keep oversight on seeing to it that the money is being spent where it's supposed to be spent? But let me tell you, that has not happened. It's only now that we're really starting to understand the fact, simply because what has happened in eThekwini, you no longer have a ruling party ruling eThekwini, but you have a coalition that is running eThekwini. And the facts came out. I can say this now, that out of 27 wastewater works that we have in eThekwini, 24 of them are not licensed. And this has not happened yesterday. It's been like that for years. Yeah. Out of the 27 again, 17 of them have been run to total failure. Now, that has not happened yesterday. It's been there, but somebody's been doing absolutely nothing about it.
Yeah. Now, Mulasa, somebody will listen to us and will say, but the deputy mayor himself is an astute businessman. He's been in business for a number of years. He's created a rather unique network of business people in the area. There are a number that you can count. What about a public-private partnership to be able to assist you in this?
Well, remember, the way we procure anything in South Africa, you need to follow the treasury regulations. That is how we do our procurement. For instance, what you've just mentioning now, it will mean we need to go into what we call PPP, public-private partnership. And in order for us to do that, it's a treasury requirement that there are certain regulations that we need to follow. It is not something that you just do overnight. It can take anything up to, in fact, a minimum of 3 years before you can finish that cycle. Now, what we are saying is, as a council, is that the national government need to come on board and assist us immediately, because, of course, we do have areas that need to be sorted out. Otherwise, if we don't solve the issues that we have right now, come December this year, we cannot expect holiday makers coming from all over South Africa to come to Durban and enjoy the warm Indian Ocean, because, quite frankly, the level of E. coli in our water is at a point where we cannot allow any beach or sea activities. We can't even allow people to fish.
Deputy Mayor, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on tonight.
Thanks a million.
Deputy Mayor of eThekwini there, Philani Mavundla, raising the alarm on what is required to resolve the question of the water infrastructure that is dilapidating in eThekwini. For years now, he says, it has not been given the necessary attention.